Caller from area code 724. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, Mr. Black. This is Rico. I'm calling from Pittsburgh.
All right, Rico from Pittsburgh. What's on your
Real
mind?
quick, I'm gonna say something that might not be that popular. I've been thinking about this reparation thing for a long time. Who are we to put a price on all the barbarities and atrocities that were put on our ancestors?
The folk who we're the descendants of the people who suffered it. So that's us. We have the right and the authority.
But how do we
do
decide that number? And what number is going to be good enough? You going to be like, they gave you $500,000. We're going to be like, it's okay. Everything's cool now.
No, we never said that. We never said that.
It seems like we're starting to act like that's the be all end all.
No, sir.
No,
it's not.
Thanks for listening.
No, it's not. And we never said it was the end all be all. But what we're saying is that you can't get anything done without it. We didn't say that it's.
I agree with that.
We did not say it's the only thing. So for anybody,
I didn't say you said that, but a lot of people are starting to act like that. That's the end goal.
Well, that might be the way. That might be the way that you're perceiving it. But the bottom line is, we're not saying that that's it. However, it's just like saying, well, reparations, a cash payment's not everything. Well, then again, food and water's not everything either. So,
I'm not disputing the importance of cash, but right. What would that be?
Well,
who decides?
Okay,
more importantly,
listen.
That's more important.
Listen very carefully what I'm going to say next. What it is. This is the crux of everything. What it is a good start. That's what it is.
Copy. I hear you. Yeah, it is.
Thank you very much for giving us a call. It is a good start. It gives you a place to start from. Let me tell you all something. Think about this for just a few moments. Think about this. Can you imagine what the conversation is going to be like in every state when this happens? Can you imagine how the conversation in those states are going to turn on a dime? Literally. Nobody's going to be talking about religion, politics, or nothing else. They are going to be talking about our experience and our identity as the descendants of slaves who built this country in America, and where we're supposed to be at and why we're not there. Just understand, just even if you start that legislation, that's going to start that starts a tsunami of a discussion. That alone is going to be tremendous. Even for the people who attempt to dispute it and try to fight against it, just getting that started starts a tsunami of a discussion. Where you start talking about these things from 720 degrees, folks are going to start digging up records to try to exonerate themselves. Because we will not just stop with the state, we will also look at the individual institutions. And it's going to be a whole bunch of institutions that are going to attempt to cover it up. And you see, then we get to talk about places like Wilmington. You get to start talking about Wilmington, North Carolina, and what happened there. Then you get to talk about Rosewood. You get to start talking about what happened there. Folks going to start to try to dig up records to try to exonerate themselves. Try to say, wait a minute, it didn't happen like that. We've been trying to get those records for dozens and dozens of years. That's how you imagine the conversation that's going to be set off, and it's going to sweep everything else off the page. Think about that for a few moments. It's going to be a scramble. For people trying to prove they qualify, for people trying to prove they shouldn't pay, for people trying to prove that they should hold on to what they got. Think about that for a few moments. This goes beyond just cutting the check. This changes a statewide or international dialogue. It changes everything. All of a sudden, that becomes the agenda because a whole bunch of folks are going to be like, wait a minute now, we shouldn't have to pay. And now this is the struggle. This is what the hell we need. So just think about it from that standpoint alone. Just starting the ball rolling at this is going to have all kinds of repercussions. Your TV stations, your radio stations, your cable news outlets, your bloggers. Think about that for a moment. They start cutting checks in California. Tim Cook, Joe Rogan. Remember, he used to live there. We can go down the damn list. Everybody and their mama is going to be talking about that. Boom! Move over to New York City. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Biggest media market in America. Channel 2, Channel 7, WABC, go down the list. It sweeps everything else off the board. That becomes the conversation. What I'm telling you about is just the tsunami of conversation about that alone, and sussing this out and talking about how Facebook and Google and Twitter and the rest of them need to pay their high-tech reparations, because this is not simply about a cash check for the things they want to document. All these other folks here who've been benefiting off of penalizing the descendants of slaves, oh no, all of y'all got to cut yours too. You got to cut yours too. Then that starts a different discussion. That starts a different discussion. So I just want you all to understand, this is a whole lot bigger than just saying you want reparations. This starts a communication echo chamber. And I'm telling you, it's an echo chamber that is going to reverberate so loudly and so strongly that it's going to shake the foundations of the world. Just that discussion about what's happened to us, because for the better part of the last century, your communication apparatus has focused on the Jewish Holocaust. And then it talks about us as a secondary thing. I do not fault Jewish people for putting a spotlight on what happened to them. They're supposed to do that. But we're supposed to put a spotlight on what happened to us, because we built the country that they could flee to. And because of our work, they couldn't be penalized here, despite Henry Ford and other people who were the titans of their day. But because of our work and our blood and our enslavement and our fighting for freedom, they had a place to come to. Those who weren't slave owners already, those who were fleeing oppression, found a country that protected people who were fleeing oppression, because it didn't exist before we came out of chains. It didn't exist. You had American Nazis just like you had German Nazis. It didn't exist. And we've never gotten the protections that we have helped to afford to other people. So yes, the spotlight needs to be on us. Time to put that spotlight on us. Time for us to go through all the records. Talk about the Highway and the Freeway Acts. Time to go through all those. Yeah, you can start making your TV shows, your documentaries, your movies, your miniseries, your cable TV specials. Hell yeah, it's time to go ahead and start evening that out and balancing that out, to let folk know it wasn't just chattel slavery. There wasn't just one Black Wall Street, Greenwood, Archer, and Pine. There wasn't just one incident. It wasn't just a couple of years of lynching. It wasn't just one or two black neighborhoods that got run over by the freeways. The freeways were systematically plotted out for the purposes of destroying black neighborhoods. Systematically. The Levittown agendas. That destroying the wealth of the descendants of the slaves was and is American fiscal policy. We need to go through all the records so we can go ahead and dig that up. Yes, let's kick off that conversation. So don't look at this one-dimensionally. I know you all have never thought of it like that before. Don't look at this one-dimensionally. This is not one-dimensional. This is not one-dimensional. This is a four-dimensional architecture. It doesn't just occupy 3 dimensions, it occupies time and space. Wrapped up into one occurring in our present dynamic. The past is the present. So recognize when I say reparations across the board, now you understand what I'm saying and what I mean. And if you get this ball rolling, it starts a conversation that nobody can ignore. It becomes the agenda. You know why? Because then they're going to say, well, could it happen here? We're in Alabama. Could it happen here? Damn right it can, and it will. University of Alabama, you become $1 billion+ institution on the backs of young black men who were physically bred to be superior specimens. Nick Saban is rich, and these young men have to take a vow of poverty. So the administrators and Nick Saban get to be filthy damn rich, but the young men who are still slaving for them have to take a vow of poverty. Yeah, we need to discuss reparations. You're not doing this to them because they're black. You're doing this because they're the descendants of the slaves. You're doing that because of their lineage to maintain the status quo. Yes, blackness is a given, but that's not our argument. Our argument is our lineage. We understand the racial reasons for it. I'm saying our argument is our lineage. You targeted a specific lineage for exploitation. Well, we could have brought over other immigrants for that. Well, you didn't. But you didn't. But you didn't. So we gonna start here.